Heaven, we call the D1 Baseball Weekend Preview. I am your host, Michael Patrick Rooney. Tonight's Weekend Preview brought to you by our friends at S2 Cognition. S2 Cognition is the leading sports science cognitive tech platform that gives players visibility into how their brain is wired to make split-second decisions at game speed. S2 works with teams and coaches to administer the digital S2 eval that measures a player's millisecond reactions, such as their ability to swing on time, make contact, level of self-control to not chase pitches, anticipation of pitch location to swing at the right spot, and more. The results are detailed in a personalized S2 score report, giving athletes and teams insight on how to practice more efficiently, get better, faster. This report is also being used for drafting and recruitment purposes across the NCAA and MLB clubs. Right now, S2 works exclusively with clubs and organizations, but be on the lookout as this eval will be more broadly accessible to individual athletes over the next year. Frickin' boom, baby. That's what I'm talking about.
Good, bro.
My best effort
That's
date,
pretty good.
boys. Yes.
Runes, I got to tell you real quick. I thought about you today. I just saw a clip of Evan Neal from Alabama when he got drafted. That he had two. Have you ever done a box jump before?
Yes.
So he had two boxes.
Since I was 19, but yes.
Well, he had two 35-inch boxes, and not only did he box jump at his size, but he split box jump. So he went the front leg on the front box and the back leg on the back box. That made me think about you and kind of your agility and things like that.
You were thinking that would be a great way for Runes to reach his resting place.
Yeah, I think you should do that in Omaha and see how it goes.
No. Safety first is my life rule. So, Kendall, we have a special guest, Aaron J. Fitt, our favorite New Englander. He gone. We kicked him out. We said, Fitzy, don't bring that soft stuff. So we wanted somebody from the upper Midwest with some toughness. So we've got the great Patrick Ebert, hashtag Pebert. Pebert, welcome aboard.
Yeah, thanks for having me, guys. Weather's been bad, so toughness is probably the only thing I have right now. I don't have one.
I feel like you guys are stuck in perpetual winter up there.
I'm stuck. That's exactly what it is. I'm stuck.
You know what you're not doing, though? You're on here with us while Aaron, I think, is watching our Golden Girls rerun.
Oh, gosh, I love it. With a hipster beer in hand.
Exactly, of course. With his plaid long sleeve shirt with curl snaps.
Gosh, there's nothing better than shredding the guy that's not here.
His Jason Isbell starter kit.
Oh, gosh. Well played, Kendall. Look at you. Pebert, are you in the upper Midwest? Are you guys country music listeners? That's got to be part of the upper Midwest, right?
Yeah, I'm close enough to the city that I don't do that. So
they're just beer drinkers.
That's right.
Yeah. I'm the type that goes for some good old rock and roll. But yeah, there's plenty of people around here that listen to country music, though. So yes.
I'll tell you this: my long-standing memory of Wisconsin. I went there a few years ago to cover a Northwoods League prospect showcase. So what they did is at the Mallards ballpark, they had that Northwoods League, prospect showcase. It's mainly just scouts, but they let fans come in at the end. Well, when they had that, they let fans come in, and the place ran out of freaking beer at a prospect showcase. So that was I was very much impressed with people from Wisconsin from that point on because they ran out of beer at a prospect showcase.
You know how they put all the nets at all fields?
Yeah.
I've always said that's for people that watch baseball in Wisconsin because we're spending most of the time like this. So balls come. Yeah, you need that protection. Awesome. There's other things at hand. So,
Pebert, are you more claiming Wisconsin or Milwaukee? Like if somebody pinned you down, which would you claim? What would be your primary?
Ooh, yeah, that's a good call. Milwaukee. Yeah, it's more of a Milwaukee thing. So,
do you say Madison or Milwaukee?
No, two separate places. So Madison's an hour west of here.
Well, no, it's okay. I thought he said, do you claim Madison or Milwaukee?
No, Wisconsin or Milwaukee.
Wisconsin, yeah.
Yeah,
because they are kind of two different things. You're right.
Yeah. It's like Miami and Florida.
Yeah. I mean, because the rest of Wisconsin is much different than Milwaukee. In fact, I know I have friends that live 30 minutes west that are scared to come to the city. So, and it's not that bad of a city if you've been to Milwaukee.
The streets of the suburbs. What, Pebert? How do we in Milwaukee? How do we feel about the show Laverne and Shirley? Proud of it? Dated?
Dated? Yeah. I mean, it's great because that intro had them working at a brewery.
Yes.
So I think it was Shots Brewery.
Heck yeah. Well played.
Which is a fake. It doesn't exist.
Correct.
But then on our river walk down in Milwaukee, we have this bronze Fonzie So where he's going like
There
this,
you go.
he's
No
got
way.
the Fonz. So it's the bronze
Thank you.
Fonz. So it's
Can we just talk about this the next hour instead of baseball?
That's a really good subtle play by Kendall because he's in first place in our weekly picks. I think everyone knows that. I think in fairness, my mea culpa, I did take over first place last week. I did not act like I've been there before. I was basically a bat flipper. First career home run, flipping the bat. And of course, baseball karma took over and I am no longer in first place. I am 2 games behind the paper tiger. I don't know why people call Kendall that, but whatever. And then I tried to come at Kendall with a GIF on Twitter, which Ebert, big mistake. Like that is talk about bringing a knife to a gunfight. Taking Kendall on in GIFs is that's a fool's errand.
No, he'll take social media to the next level on you, and then you'll wake up next week and realize what happened to you. Yeah.
Yeah.
Hey, I'm just gonna hold this up for the rest of the podcast. First place.
First place. Oh gosh.
You can just see that the whole time while you're talking to me.
Oh, thank you for that. Thank you for the signage. Every time one of the most underrated movies of our lifetime, Semi-Pro, Will Ferrell, 4th place. The Flint. What was it called? The Flint, not Flint City Tropics. The Flint. Maybe it's just the Flint Tropics. I don't know. That's good excuse to rewatch the movie. So, gentlemen, we digress. Let's get to the picks. Let's get to the ball game. We got 4 weekends left to catch Kendall, the man in first place. So let's talk picks here. Let's start. We have really good series this weekend. Let's start Virginia Tech at Virginia. KR, why don't we start with you? Then we'll go Ebert, then me. Virginia Tech at Virginia. Who do you like and why?
Yeah, I mean, I'll take Virginia here. I mean, although, when you look at Virginia Tech, you look at Cade Hunter, Tanner Schobel, Eduardo Malinowski, Jack Curley. They're a really offensive club. But I feel like Virginia, they've been a team that the last few weeks haven't played like they did the first few weeks this season. I feel like the kind of the best medicine to kind of get back to that is playing your rival at home in front of big crowds and great weather. So I just think Virginia is going to play really well this weekend. But I think it's going to be a hard-fought series. I think it's going to be one of these – I don't think it's going to be a series where Virginia just, rolls roughshod over them. It's going to be a good series.
Ebert, what say you?
Yeah, this for me was the hardest series to choose. And and when it comes down to that, I go with the home team more often than not. Virginia's 24-2 at home. That was the easiest deciding factor for me to make this pick because I'll tell you what, and I'm sure you guys feel the same way. I mean, Virginia Tech, it's hard not to be impressed with the way they're playing. And with both these teams' offenses, you kind of expect it could be a heavy offensive firepower series. But just as soon as you say that, it's probably we're going to see like 3 one-run games, where they're all 3-2 or 4-5. That's just how the baseball gods work with stuff like this. But yeah, I too went Virginia.
I also went Virginia, boys, and I'll tell you why. Because I'm gutless. I'm just absolutely gutless. I wanted to pick Virginia Tech so bad. But what you said, Ebert, and Kendall, you said it too. Like, home field advantage kind of became my convenient tiebreaker. And the truth is, Virginia, the only 2 ACC series they lost were at Miami and at Pitt. And Virginia Tech, they've been mostly, outstanding, but they did get swept at Georgia Tech to start ACC play. Now, that feels more like an outlier. Everything you guys said, I think it's going to be an awesome series. I think both of these teams have Omaha upside. Both of them have similar issues in that their Sunday starter, their rotation is not a complete rotation. Virginia Tech has struggled on Sundays. When Virginia's gotten in trouble, they've gotten in trouble with their rotation. So I think this could be really a fantastic weekend. I am taking Virginia, but I love both teams long term. So
well said.
Yeah, there you go. Very good. Did anyone pick for Virginia Tech? Seif picked Virginia Tech. Shotgun picked Virginia Tech. And that's it. So mostly very heavy Virginia. Let's go Oklahoma State at Texas. Ebert, why don't you kick us off here? Who'd you go with?
Yeah, I chose Texas for this one. This was another tough one. I like the home team in this situation. I actually like, starting at the beginning of the year when, Texas obviously started the year as the number 1 team. And I know you guys have talked at great length just how big of a blow it was to lose Tanner Witt. Lucas Gordon is doing a really good job in that Sunday role, that third starter for them, after Tristan Stevens. And he's kind of doing it a little under the radar. I like that kind of tiebreaker for this because, again, with this series, similar to Virginia Tech, I had to create a mental tiebreaker for myself. That is Lucas Gordon, just the job he's done. Because I'll tell you what, as good as that Friday matchup is between Pete Hansen and Justin Campbell, I mean, I'm not betting against Hansen, in a matchup like that.
Yeah.
So it's just fun. But it's tough to say, though, too, because Oklahoma State coming off, obviously, a tough series loss. They're going to rebound and be energized for this one.
Kendall, as you answer this, so as I understand it, Oklahoma State is going to move Bryce Osmond up to Saturday, Victor Medeiros, who's really struggled, to just get at, his ERA is 7.5. I think he's going to be the Sunday starter. So who does Texas? So it would be Tristan Stevens against Bryce Osmond, and then who would be the Sunday starter for Texas? It's Gordon.
Yeah.
So it'd be Gordon against Medeiros. Wow. Okay. Boy, that's a great. So who would you go with, Kendall?
I'll take Texas. I think when you look at Texas being at home, Pete Hansen, I think Pete Ebert said it perfectly. I would never bet against Pete Hansen at home. He is Mr. Automatic. And so I like him to edge out Justin Campbell. And really, I give Texas the edge against Medeiros, but that middle game is really a toss-up. Bryce Osmond, he's a kid that, the last few years we've been kind of waiting on him to kind of take that next step forward. He's finally done that. Tristan Stevens, hasn't been great the last few weeks. He was just okay against Baylor, but this is a big series. They're at home. I would not count out Tristan Stevens in a big home game like this, a top 10 matchup. So I like Texas. I think it's going to be a fantastic series, though.
Who would you give the edge to in bullpen, Kendall? That has to be Oklahoma State, right? Or is Texas bullpen figuring itself out?
I would say Oklahoma State for me.
Yeah, I really like their bullpen, and they've got Huey Morrell and Nolan McLean, and is it Cale Davis? I think you've got Trevor Martin. I mean, they got some dudes. I'll tell you the one thing Oklahoma State doesn't have, and it hurt them against TCU. They don't have left-handers. It is a very right-handed pitching staff, and so I don't know that. I mean, Ivan Melendez is it feels like Texas is so many right-handed bats, but it's a long way of saying I picked Texas. It's very similar to the first series. I think it's a really good series. I think these are two clubs with Omaha upside. Fitzy, when he picked these, really, really well done. But we're kind of down the middle as a staff. 5 people picked Texas, 4 picked Oklahoma State here.
Yep.
Georgia at LSU. Kendall, why don't you kick us off here? Who'd you go with?
I went with the team that plays better defense and I think has more stable starting pitching. I just think in a series like this, even with LSU's offense being as potent as it can be, LSU's still very shaky defensively. And I just think Florida, for the most part, is a pretty sound club. And I think they're winning with Jonathan Cannon, and I think they can find a way to split the last two. So I'm taking Georgia on the road.
I like it. Ebert, what are you thinking here?
Yeah, that logic exactly what I'm thinking. I mean, Jonathan Cannon back is the number one reason. I mean, I personally think he's the best pitcher in college baseball, and it stinks. It stinks that he missed time because he would have been in the middle of pitcher of the year. He may still get it, but I mean, it's really going to be hard from a numbers perspective because he's going to be a couple weeks behind other guys. And what Kendall just said, they'll figure out a way to split the last 2 games of that series.
Yeah. I'll tell you what gets interesting is and I wouldn't put this past Jay Johnson, if he can come up with a game plan to beat Jonathan Cannon. Now, what that game plan is, I don't know. Nobody knows yet. I mean, he's been so good and so consistent. But then that series really gets weird, like if LSU wins the Cannon start. But yeah, I picked Georgia as well. I like the vibe around Georgia. You're right, Kendall. Their position player group, I think, is underrated. They're bigger than you think. They're older than you think. They score more runs than you think, and their pitching is rounded into shape. I mean, Georgia is actually a team that's coming on pretty strong here. So now at LSU, tough assignment, no question.
Yeah, you know what's going to happen, don't you? Georgia's going to lose with Cannon, but still win the series.
Yeah, that would be very 2022. Very good. By the way, do you guys remember when A&M played LSU first SEC weekend of the year, and there was a fan for LSU out there tailgating who he saw the A&M bus roll up, and he had a beer in one hand and his the number 1 sign with his middle finger to the A&M bus with the other hand, and Jim Schlossnagel texted it out. I thought it was awesome. It was so good. God bless you, LSU fans. Well done. Love the passion. All right, let's keep moving. That was Georgia at LSU. TCU at Florida State. Kendall, what say you here?
So if there's one thing you can knock TCU on, it's kind of, really their weekend rotation outside of Riley Cornelio. Now, getting Austin Crow back certainly helps, because if Marcelo Perez gets in some trouble, they can turn that game over to Crow there in the middle innings. With that said, I think Florida State at home with Messick and Hubbard, they can come out of the bullpen with Montgomery, guys like that. I just think Florida State is superior defensively, and I don't think like TCU is offensive enough to overwhelm those arms.
Ebert, what say you?
Yeah, I went TCU here, but you got to remember, I'm the guy that picked TCU each of the last 2 weeks.
TCU fans love you.
And
right.
TCU fans have hopped on the Ebert wagon. So I'm not gonna fail them at this point in time, because that would be one, it would just be rude, and two, but it's a good team. I love what they're doing. My analytical side says Florida State's pitching shuts down the TCU lineup, especially having a couple left-handers with some big lefty bats in that TCU lineup. And I think Florida State knows that they need some big wins at this point in the season, to kind of firm things up, because things have not gone their way, the past month or so for them, and they need to get back on track. But I'm going to stick with those Horned Frogs.
Yeah. Patrick, you are the person that's picked TCU 3 weeks in a row. You know who I am? The person that's picked against TCU 3 weeks in a row. And I actually, as I made my selection, I quickly texted associate head coach Bill Mosiello my apology. I believe his son Helton is no longer speaking to Mike Rooney. I may have lost a follower on Twitter. But in theory, I would be doing TCU a disservice if I picked them this week, because me picking against them seems to be working quite well for the Frogs.
I would say anybody too, like on staff, right? Like they want all you guys to pick against them.
That's right. I said that way. Yeah. Where are the thank yous? Where's my box of wine? I will pick against your team, I will pick against your team for the right price. But you nailed it, Patrick. I think that Braden Taylor is clearly TCU's most talented hitter. He's a left-hander. We've seen what Florida State has done to lefties, but I also like what you said, Ebert, that Florida State is very difficult to figure out. Series wins over Wake Forest and NC State and Louisville, and then they get swept at home by Notre Dame. They lose a series on the road to Clemson. It's like, I don't know, who are you, Florida State? But I do think that there will be a legitimate home field advantage this weekend too in T-Town. So very good. And Helton Mosiello again, my apologies. All right, cool. A&M at Vandy. Kendall, what are you thinking here?
I took A&M. I just think with the momentum they have, the way they're playing, I think they become a really offensive club. And the game's actually going on right now, and A&M leads 2-1 in the fifth. So I thought Nathan Detmer matched up pretty well with Vanderbilt's offense, and he's thrown really well so far tonight. So I like A&M in the series. I thought they looked really good against Arkansas last weekend.
Ebert, what say you?
Yeah, this one was another one of those tough ones, because I really like what A&M's doing, and reading Kendall's work from the weekend and just really getting a good feel for just what Schlossnagle and that staff is building there, and all those transfers that they have that are having unbelievable season. I mean, Detmer and Palish and Troy Claunch, and just the season he's having offensively. Now, that said, I picked Vanderbilt for this series just because, they're at home, right? They're in Nashville for this one.
Yeah, they're in Nashville.
Yep.
So that played a big part, even though, Tennessee did sweep them in Nashville, but Tennessee sweeping everybody regardless of where they're playing. It's kind of similar to Florida State, what I said with them. I feel that Vanderbilt has to have some sense of urgency at this point in the season. They have too much talent on that roster. Dominic Keegan's having a really good season that no one's talking about. I mean, it's a SEC Player of the Year type of season. But and they got the pitching and stuff, and I think they're figuring some of that part. Chris McIlvain, their ace, he gets the job done. He has good stuff, but I mean, he's really just battling every week, and he's a tough Friday matchup. So I don't know. I think Vanderbilt finds a way and gets the series won.
By the way, guys, the only two people that picked A&M was Kendall and Shotgun, which are the 2 wild cards at D1. Let's be honest. Like, and I hate that I picked against the 2 wild cards. You guys are our 2 riverboat gamblers, KR. By the way, I wanted to show you guys.
You guys should always do. You guys should always do what the first place guy's doing. So
that's right. Success leaves clues, is what they say. I want to show you guys this. This is my nerd card. This is an index card where I wrote down every SEC team and their 10 series, and I do it for the ACC. I do it for most of the big leagues, but that's what I do in my spare time.
There you go. Nice.
Yes, you. I picked Vandy also. Yeah, I am very late to the A&M party, and Nick Maldonado coming back for Vanderbilt, I think is a thing. Like I feel like that might be something that gets Vandy going. But again, the Vandy thing is crazy because they have so many wins. This is a team that had an 18-game winning streak earlier in the year. But if you look at Vandy's resume, their 3 biggest series wins are Florida at home, at Kentucky, and Missouri. That's Vandy's resume. Like, holy heck. That's very un-Vandy-ish. But anyway, they do the contradiction is they've got a ton of wins too. So anyway, I picked Vandy. I think, A&M's really not in the business of sweeping people at this point. They're just winning. They just have a winning vibe. So I don't know that I feel awesome about the pick, but I'm going to go with Vandy. I think Maldonado does in fact make a difference. I think this team's got a run in them. So we'll see. All right. Miami at Georgia Tech. Gosh, another really good one. Ebert, what'd you go with here?
Yeah, I'm just gonna say, like, even how you wrapped up Vandy, Texas A&M. This was a tough week to pick because I don't feel strong about really any of it. I felt a lot better last week, and I went 8-2, and that doesn't necessarily mean that I felt that good about my picks. But this week I just don't feel that great about them. But I did take Miami here. It's another team in the ACC. I know you guys have talked about it before, how they're really just going in circles, beating each other, and I like Miami, and I really like what they're doing. I think we got a glimpse of that, a couple weeks ago. Carson Palmquist on Friday nights is a really, I think, just a dynamic special talent. Yo-Yo, Morales. With the shortstop with Miami. I think he's kind of similar to Keegan with Vanderbilt in that he's having just a huge offensive season that's flying a little bit under the radar. I think people that follow the sport are well aware of what he's doing, but I think kind of from more of a national perspective, people may not be noticing and recognizing what he's doing. I really like the depth that they have. I like the youth that they have. I like that, they have things in every class from every kind of style. They fit a lot of roles. They just have a lot of everything, and I really like that from the club. I think they get things back on track here and finish the season strong, and I think that starts with the series win at Georgia Tech.
Kendall, do you know who the only 2 people that picked Georgia Tech are?
You and Aaron?
No, I'll give you a hint. Hashtag hipsters. Who are the 2 biggest hipsters at D1 baseball?
Shotgun and Aaron.
Well, is that wrong for me to call Stitch a hipster?
Ooh, I think Stitch would resemble that remark.
I'll give you this. I think Stitch is one step ahead of the hipsters. Like Stitch was drinking Pabst Blue Ribbon in like 2005. And
I feel like Stitch is like grunge.
Yeah,
he's more of a grunge rock kind of guy, not really a Jason Isbell kind of guy.
Yeah, that's a good point. Motorcycle is not very hipster, is it? That's more.
Yeah, I mean, he lives in Venice Beach and drives a motorcycle.
You know what Stitch is? He's just like his own. He's his own genre. Like
he is like I think I want to say that somebody actually submitted him for most interesting man in the world, and like he actually should be in the running.
He should get votes. Yeah,
he's
certainly the most interesting person in college baseball. So, Kendall, so tell us why you picked Miami then.
I think when you look at Miami, I don't know if my intro will be nice and in depth as Patrick's just now, but I just think when you look at Miami, Georgia Tech, the biggest thing with them since day one this year is starting pitching. And I just think when you look at Miami and you look at, Carson Palmquist, Carson Ligon, and then you look at Andrew Walters in the back end, those 3 guys to me give Miami a distinct advantage. So that's why I like Miami.
Yeah, Miami's, for all the reasons you guys listed, they're a cool team. Like I feel like a lot of the ACC teams are very lopsided. They have these really big carrying strengths, and then they have pretty significant holes behind them. For most of those teams, the carrying strength is very intimidating position player groups. And the issue is run prevention, but Miami is more complete than that. And again, Andrew Walters, probably the best closer in the country right now. CJ Kafis is having a huge year, almost like a Mark Kotsay type year. Like he's leading off and he's playing first base. He's phenomenal. You mentioned Yo-Yo Morales. They got the two transfers, Jacob Burke and Max Romero. Hey, Dominic Patelli, their undersized middle infielders, playing great. So anyway, Miami can kind of win any type of game, and I like that about them. They're not one dimensional. So I went with the Hurricanes too. That is in. Oh, that's at Georgia Tech. That's in Atlanta. That'll be interesting. And Stitch, I called you a hipster, and that I just need to apologize. I mean, we nailed it. You are your own genre.
Yeah, you better hope he doesn't hear that.
Yeah, well, that's all right. I owe him like 100 beers in Omaha, so put it on my tab. Tulane at Central Florida. Tulane at UCF. Kendall, what say you here?
I like Tulane. So, UCF's a really intriguing club. They're tied for first place in that league, but I think without Hunter Patterson, who's out for the year with an arm injury, that's kind of an equalizer from a starting pitching standpoint, because I think the one thing with Tulane is they're not, very much sold in their starting pitching, but I think they can really hit when you look at Bennett Lee, Ethan Groff, even Jack LaPrairie's gotten some big hits for them in the last few weeks. So I just like Tulane's offense in this series, but even on the road.
So, Patrick, you and Fitzy are the only two people that picked UCF. Do you know what you and Fitzy have in common?
Yeah, I hope you'll tell me.
Yeah, I got it. I got it. I believe you two to be the two most grammatically correct individuals at D1 baseball. That's what I'm saying.
I thought you were going to say we're the stars of the 5'8" under basketball team.
That's right. I like to say that I'm on that squad too.
Patrick, I was gonna ask Patrick real quick. Okay, so we're gonna bag on Aaron because I know what his answer is gonna be. So Patrick, if Aaron Rodgers went to the Steelers, would you become a Steelers fan or would you stick with the Packers?
Absolutely not. No.
Thank you. See, Aaron, Tom Brady leaves the Patriots and he bails out on his hometown team to be a Bucs fan.
Yeah, so we don't play like that in the Midwest. No.
Yeah,
you root for the name on the front of the jersey, not the back.
There we go, baby.
Oh, that's right. That's right. Oh,
take that,
gosh. Aaron fits.
Hey, if Aaron's gonna be a no-show, he's gonna get ragged on.
That's right. Oh my gosh, burn the tape. Burn the tape. Ebert, so you picked UCF. Tell us why.
Yep. Yeah, the pitching for me, and I know Patterson's out, but like what Connor Stain has done. Has been incredible. It's been really fun to follow. He's one of those guys similar to Detmer at A&M, and just seeing like that success that he's having in that lead role to front that staff. They got their butts handed to them at home against East Carolina 2 weekends ago. And this will probably burn me because I picked against Tulane last weekend too. I just really like UCF here. I think they turn things around at home and take that series.
How about, boys, the top of the American is so jammed up. Tulane, UCF, East Carolina, all 8-4. Houston and Cincinnati hanging around at 7-5 each. That's a fun league. I almost wish I had picked UCF just because, it is so bunched up and it's a hard league to predict. But I picked Tulane. I just feel like Tulane has been knocking on the door for so long. I feel like they're ready for stuff like this. I loved your write-up on them, Kendall. They, Ethan Groff is that's the kid, right? That's having a breakout year.
He's having a huge year. I think he hit 190 last year.
Yep. So, yeah, let's give me Tulane there. I see Spartan Esports in the chat over there. Maryland baseball for the College World Series. Wouldn't shock us. Maryland having a heck of a year. I think they have single-digit losses still and 30 wins for sure. So, all right, let's keep moving. This is great. This is actually a rivalry, but I don't know what the rivalry is called. I might have to Google it. Santa Barbara at Cal Poly. Must win for Cal Poly. Let's see. Who took Santa Barbara? F took Santa Barbara and Shotgun. Oh, man. The man from Mobile and the man from New Jersey by way of California and Georgia. So F and Shotgun took Santa Barbara. The rest of us took Cal Poly. Now, that's interesting, boys, because really Santa Barbara. Oh, no, that's not true. Seif took Santa Barbara too. But it's interesting. 6 of us took Cal Poly, and like Santa Barbara's got to be the favorite in the series, right? I would think.
Yeah,
Kendall,
they would have to.
What do you got?
So they would have to be. So I like Cal Poly on the front end with Drew Thorpe. Brixley's obviously having a great year. But, what's the one thing with Cal Poly here down the stretch is they're not getting in the postseason with an at-large bid. Like, it's just not going to happen. So their pathway to making the postseason is winning the conference regular season championship. And I think they go into this weekend realizing that, and at home, I think they win a big series and get back in the discussion because I think right now they're 2.5, 3 games out.
3.5. Yep, 3.5.
They've got ground to make, and I think they're going to realize that.
So let's go crazy talk. Let's say Cal Poly, this is at home. Let's say they sweep Santa Barbara. Santa Barbara moves to 16-5. Cal Poly moves to 14-4. Dang, that gets it. Then they're back. What are they back a half a game at that point? Whatever they are. So, oh boy, that gets interesting. And then you got Hawaii hanging around, Irvine. Man, even Fullerton's 9-6 in the league. Patrick, what do you think about this series?
Yeah, I was going to say that. I think, UC Santa Barbara has probably the better team, the deeper team. I like the star power that Kendall mentioned that they have on top. I just feel like Cal Poly plays their style of baseball better than most teams play their own style of baseball. Mm-hmm. And I know, Runes, from your perspective, I know you like those West Coast teams. I mean, this is like one of those teams that's still playing that style of baseball, and they really know how to grind out at-bats. They know how to keep games close. They can win with small ball. I mean, they got enough star power in Lee that, they can get a big hit when they need to. And he really changes that lineup, makes all those guys around him better. And Drew Thorpe, again, as Kendall mentioned, has been so good in that top spot. I don't feel so good about them if they don't win game one. I think they need to, and then try to figure out a way to split with 2 and 3. Like you mentioned, if they sweep somehow, that would be just insane. But this is more of a gut feel than like an analytical feel for me for Cal Poly. But I am picking Cal Poly to win this series.
Yeah. By the way, so I have a sincere question for Kendall, but I do have a nitpick. I love both these programs. I love these coaching staffs. You guys, as you stated, Patrick, I'm all in on Big West baseball. This is called the blue-green rivalry. Yawn. Come on, blue-green rivalry?
Is that really what it's called?
Yeah, I Googled it. And you know what's terrible is like Santa Barbara and San Luis Obispo are two of the prettiest places in America. And like, Cal Poly's the Mustangs, cool nickname, green and gold. And Santa Barbara's got cool unis. They had T-shirts called Chomaha. There are, Gauchos or Argentine Cowboys. All of that coolness, and you give me the blue-green rivalry? Come on, we got to be better than that, right?
That's pretty bad.
Yeah.
It doesn't Pacific Coast Highway go through both towns?
Probably.
Let me look that up. I feel like we can come up with a better name.
Kendall, let me ask you this. Here's a question. So I am a believer that the Big West needs to have a conference tournament, but it really needs to be 4 teams or 6 teams, because they have to distance themselves. Like, they've been a 1-bid league for a while now. And like, when I say a while, I mean this season. And, teams have nothing to play for. And Santa Barbara and Irvine, who I think are good teams, are just kind of like toast. So here's the question, Kendall. So let me explain the problem. The reason the coaches don't want to do that is they're playing 10 conference weekends right now. And the Big West coaches are feeling that, hey, that's a problem and we can't change that. And so we need as many weekends as possible to build up our RPI. A conference tournament just hurts our RPI more. So my solution, if, just given full reign, which I have none, would be make it an 8-week season and make the conference tournament like 4 or 6 teams. Here's the question, Kendall, and feel free to comment on the scenario I just described. If there was a conference tournament in the Big West this year and Santa Barbara won the league, kind of going away like they are, but didn't win the conference tournament, do you think Santa Barbara would get squeezed out?
I think they would still get in. I think if you're the Big West, especially with the direction this conference is going, where one team is really in a large territory. If you're the Big West, like moving forward, you want a conference tournament because that gives you a shot at 2 bids. Whereas I think moving forward, UC Riverside, UC Davis, programs like that, they're always going to be in the 200s in RPI. So they're always going to drag your whole league down. So they need a tournament more so than ever right now.
Yeah. The issue that they're saying is like they're worried about the Santa Barbaras of the world getting squeezed out. And what they're saying is like, hey, look at the WCC, look at the Mountain West. But to me, I just feel like the Big West has got more cachet than that. And I don't know, maybe I'm being naive, but I'm with you, Kendall. Like, I think a 4 or 6 team, hey, and it's fair, like playing 10 weeks of a league season when you've got a bottom as drastic as that. And like Tommy Nicholson, I think, is dynamite, who UC Davis hired, but they were threatening. There was rumors they were dropping their baseball program. That's hard to overcome. There was rumors that Riverside was dropping sports, period. That's hard to overcome. So yeah, that's where I stand. Did we even do our picks? I picked we all picked Cal Poly, right? 3 of us.
Yeah, I picked Cal Poly.
Yeah. I picked Cal Poly because I have in my mind, I've written a movie script of Larry Lee and Brooks Lee going to Omaha together as a father-son combination, and I am not willing to sell my script, Ebert. I am going to ride or die with the Brooks Lee Larry Lee combination. The math is working against me heavily.
Have you guys ever talked to Brooks Lee? Because he played the Northwoods League 2 summers ago, and the whole COVID summer, it created a really cool opportunity. I got to see him and Robert Moore on the same day on opposite teams and talk to both of them. But he's just such a great young man. Like, just everything he said, like, I became an instant fan of what he said, because it wasn't, it wasn't produced or overthought of, but he was just kind of laid back and really easygoing, but still very insightful. And I just really liked his personality.
He's cool. I get to interview him with Coach Farron, and the thing I didn't realize about Brooks Lee is, and I might mess up some of the details, but his grandfather, I think, coached at Cal Poly. His dad was a player, but he had an uncle that was like a first-round pick. So Larry Lee's got 2 brothers that were excellent players. So this whole family is, I'm telling you guys, when Brooks Lee leaves Cal Poly someday, there might be, it's not out of the realm of possibility that Larry Lee becomes like a big league hitting coach. Like, this guy is a big league, he's like a hitting guru. Now, would he want to leave Cal Poly? I don't know. But man, this guy, you get Larry Lee talking about hitting, and it is magic. It is so awesome. Let's answer. I see Ted Dinnersmith's question here. He's in the chat. Ted says this: love your coverage. Thank you, Ted. When you started doing your staff picks, they were fairly anonymous. Now they are getting tons of attention, thanks to Krista Gennaro and our friends at Helium, who do an awesome job with those tic-tac-toe graphics. Ted's question is this: has that affected the way you think about your picks? I'll go first. Yes, Ted. And I'm scared out of my mind. Every week, I'm thinking about the backlash I'm going to get on Twitter about my picks. I am an absolute wuss wagon over here. So, Kendall, how would you answer that question?
Do not care. I've had people call me every name in the book on Twitter. Bring it.
That's right. Oh,
even Tennessee fans, bring it. Let's go.
Let's go. Oh, is that a Pitching Ninja T-shirt you got going, Kendall?
Yeah, man, right here.
Very strong. Look at you.
My man, Rob Friedman.
That's a great logo. Ebert, what say you?
Yeah, I'd say, Runes, probably you affect my picks more than anything, because you've raised the bar. You're now talking smack, like internally, externally, like you're getting everybody fired up. I will say I picked TCU because I have to. Now.
Yeah, that's right.
But I don't like the external stuff. No, that doesn't affect my
picks. I thought it was funny, guys, like early in the season when Josh White at Miami when Miami won a big series, would like call all of us out in the picks. It is like Ted brings up a funny thing, like all of a sudden schools, when we pick against their team and they win the series, like they're actually like, calling us out, like old takes exposed and stuff like that. So it's a lot of fun. I think it's more fun than it is like, oh, this is annoying. Like, I'd rather people care.
Oh yeah. It's so,
no doubt.
It is so fun, but it would be an absolute lie for me to say that Josh White didn't totally intimidate me into picking Miami that weekend. Good on you, Josh White. Can't let people
bully you, Runes.
Oh my gosh. I am so soft over here. 80 softness. Take my Wawa MVP card. All right, we let's see, what do? We did our West Coast there, but the Big West is fascinating. I'm telling you, the coaches in that league I think are really strong. Central Michigan at Ball State, gosh, this is like the matchup of the decade for the MAC here. So Central Michigan, the Chips at the Ball State Cardinals. Pebert, you're the Midwest guy. What do you got here?
Yeah, this is a series that Burke Granger and I have been watching for a few weeks, like really looking forward to it. And Burke's actually going to make the doubleheader on Saturday.
Ooh,
so
awesome.
for those that don't know, the MAC plays 4-game series on weekends. They play single games Friday and Sunday, and they play a doubleheader on Saturday, the first game being 7 innings. So we've been seeing a lot of these teams put their aces in that first game on Saturday. So you got a good chance that they just go the distance, and that's why you'll see more MAC pitchers with complete games. This year, given the intensity of that series, they're both moving their best pitcher to Friday. So Central Michigan, who has Andrew Taylor, who was the league pitcher of the year a year ago, and Ball State has a young lefty by the name of Tyler Schweitzer, who's kind of one of the breakout prospects in the Midwest.
Yeah.
And those two guys are going to face each other on Friday, which unfortunately means Burke won't see the primetime matchup between those guys. But it also shows you just how serious, these teams are about this series, because it is very important, for the postseason seeding and just for pride and fighting and all that stuff. And these two teams were the best two teams in the MAC a year ago. Central Michigan is my pick just because I think they're deeper. I really like their lineup 1 through 9. Their leadoff hitter, Mario Camilletti, is an on-base machine. Type of player that you could totally see batting leadoff for the Oakland A's someday, not overly prospecty, but just really has a good idea at the plate and just battles. The bullpen depth this year is much better for Central Michigan than it was a year ago. But that said, Ball State always has good pitchers, and they do again this year. So it wasn't an easy decision, but I'm going with the Chips.
Love it. Kendall, you and Syfe were the only two that picked Ball State. What say you?
Yeah, I think both of these teams are really good. Actually, Mark Wozakowski might be the reason I'm taking Ball State. I was talking to him a few weeks ago. He really, really liked Ball State's pitching. He liked the power arms out of the bullpen for them. And he loved Tyler Schweitzer. He was like, hey, man, y'all need to be talking more about this guy. Like, against Oregon, I mean, he was 89, 93, 4-pitch mix. He was really good. And so, I just like Schweitzer on the front end. With that said, Jordan Bischel, guys, maybe the most underrated coach in college baseball. I mean, that Central Michigan, they got to the regional in Starkville a couple of years ago, but that guy has done an incredible job at CMU. They are consistently very good every single year. Who was the really good catcher they lost? Was it last year or the year before? Was it Lockwood Powell?
Yeah, Griffin Lockwood Powell.
Yeah, they lost all these studs, and then the next year, and they had the athletic kid that got drafted really high too. They lost
Xavier
all these.
Warren.
Yeah, Xavier Warren, and they didn't skip a beat. They're still really good. So that guy's a heck of a coach. CMU fans better enjoy him, because I can tell you right now, with as good as he's been, he won't be there very long, unfortunately.
He's from God's country there, Kendall. He's from Packerland.
Really?
Coach
you know what?
Bishel
Can I nominate him to be the first head coach since the 80s for the University of Wisconsin?
Oh, love that.
Let's go. Let's go, UW. Let's go, man. Let's get on it.
Let's go, Badgers. Oh, that would be amazing.
That would
By
be
the way,
a great hire for them.
I had thought that there was no MAC tournament this year. There was no MAC tournament last year because of the pandemic, if I'm not mistaken. I thought they did that for 2 years, but I'm looking at Ball State's schedule, and it does list that there's a MAC tournament. And then if you look at their league schedule, it does end the week before conference tournaments. But I could have sworn somebody said that they did a 2-year moratorium on conference tournaments. But
and I think they're doing – what did they say? They're doing 4 or 6 teams this year. So that I think they're going to have – they're not opening it up like they used to. I think because they used to do 8.
Yeah, they used to do 8.
I think they're limiting the team. But I forget the details what it – but whoever wins that league will host.
Okay, that's it. So they must have reinstated. That's smart. That's good. That's really cool. And if I'm not mistaken, so Central, you guys might have said this, but Central Michigan's 21-1 in the league, and Ball State is 19-4. I will use this as a pitch to say, guys, this is exactly why I want there to be 68 teams in the NCAA tournament, because I think Ball State got totally screwed last year, not getting in.
Yeah, they should have.
And then in 2019, Irvine didn't get in, and they were 37-17. They won 13 of their 15 weekends, but they struggled in the midweek. And so again, I get it that if you add 4 teams, they could end up just going to Power 5 leagues, but they could also end up including teams like Irvine or Ball State or whatever. So as long as we've got a tournament that includes all these leagues, I don't know. I would like it to. It just bums me out when these teams like Ball State have these incredible years and then they don't get to be in the tournament. It's a bummer. So I picked Central Michigan. I thought they were just dynamite. It's amazing. I thought South Bend last year was one of the regionals of death. Michigan, Connecticut, Central Michigan, Notre Dame. And the bells of the ball were Notre Dame and Central Michigan. No offense to Connecticut or Michigan, but Central Michigan way outplayed Michigan and Connecticut in my opinion. Their whole shtick is hilarious. It's fun.
Yeah.
So,
and you're right about that. They did outplay those two teams. So
yeah, like not mildly. It was emphatic. Oh man, speaking, look at how D1 baseball Patrick has made me better. I would have never used a word like emphatic 7 years ago. I mean, come on. It was in the 500s on my verbal score. Last series, is it La Tech at ODU, Kendall, or is it ODU at La Tech? It's La Tech at ODU,
it's
right?
like La Tech at ODU. If you're a fan of offense, you're going to be a fan of this series.
Seriously.
I like Matt Coatney and company at home. You know, Coatney had, I think he set the home run record last weekend for the Monarchs. You know, they got him, Andy Garriola. They can really, really hit. La Tech, a little wobbly right now. They lose that series in Middle Tennessee last weekend. Granted, Jim Tillman's club's played much better this year. But I just think on the road, I think this series is all about who's at home, and ODU's at home.
Ebert, what are you thinking there?
Yeah, that was the same for me. Like, it was the first series we picked, Virginia Tech. I went with the home team. This one, I'm doing the same. I'm going the home team. Just want to say, like, Andy Garriola has had an incredible year, incredible career, at Old Dominion. And I know Coatney, as Kendall mentioned, is having the bigger season. But when isn't Garriola driving in runs? And he's another guy I've seen in the Northwoods League too. Just a big, strong, physical kid. And it's going to be a fun series to follow. There's going to be some serious offense.
All right, two things. First of all, let me remember who I picked. I think I picked Louisiana Tech. I don't have a great reason why. I like that team. Have they lost 2 series in a row, Kendall? Is that what La Tech's done? La Tech?
Yeah, I want to say they lost to. Yeah, I think they have lost.
While you're looking that up, so our friends at the Shock Factor podcast, the Cespedes barbecue guys, Matt, I think it's Matt Coutney. I'm trying to look that up. We'll get clarity
they
on
won
that.
They won a series at Marshall.
Okay, at Marshall, got it. So here's what I got for you guys. So my man Matt Coutney, I think it's Coutney. We'll find out. I got to find notes or a pronunciation guide for ODU. If anyone that has a connection to ODU is listening, please let us know how you pronounce Mr. Coutney's last name. So he is from Alberta, Canada, and because he's now in the home run race, we needed a nickname for him. So Stephen Shock, our friend Stephen Shock, Shock Factor, Jake and Jordan of the Cespedes barbecue folks, they gave Mr. Coutney the nickname the Hurtin' Albertan. So there you go. If you're going to be in the home run race, you need a nickname.
I like that.
Yeah, me too. I thought it was well done.
My neighbor's from Alberta.
Sure. Really?
Maybe I'll start calling her the Hurtin' Albertan.
All right, so that's all of our picks. Kendall, before we adjourn. So Riley Rogers, we still owe a nickname your daughter.
Okay.
So I need some more like can you give me a scouting report like in softball or even in life? Riley, so one of the things that I thought was Riley could be the Jolly Roger. But I don't know, is she jolly? Would you consider your daughter jolly, or is that not a great descriptor of her? What's her softball game like? So what are her carrying strengths, Riley Rogers?
I would say that a girl probably does not want to be called a jolly.
Yeah,
that's just my guess.
I mean, it's like jolly. Yeah, you're right. Jolly implies Santa Claus. That's probably not good. Yep.
I mean, when she hits the ball, she hits tanks, if that counts.
I like that. Is she a corner player? What's her primary
position?
Base. Third base. Okay, third base, power game. Okay, good. I can work on that. That's what I just need a little bit more to go on.
That's your homework. That's been your homework for 3 weeks. Next time you're not ready, you get the deducted points for being late.
Reminds me of college where I thought homework was optional. That's very good. No, that helps. That's good. So we've got a third baseman that hits for power, right-handed hitter, right?
Yep.
Okay, cool. Very good. Very good. Favorite subject in school? Do you know?
That's a great question.
She's an RBI queen. I see, Angela. Thank you for that. Run producer.
I'm not sure what you would call her favorite subject in school.
Is she too young? What is she, like third grade,
She's
fourth
10.
grade?
Yeah, 10.
10 is fourth grade, I think. Yeah. Maybe that's too soon for
Can
class.
I make a suggestion?
Oh, yeah. What do you got, Peter?
Oh, go for it.
You remember Buck Rogers?
Yeah. Great show.
How about Clutch Rogers?
Oh, done and done. Kendall, how do you feel about that? I love that.
I feel like that's better than Jolly Rogers.
Clutch Rogers. That's amazing. Ebert. Oh, my gosh.
There you go.
Just came to me. It sounds perfect.
We need Riley and Angela Rogers to sign off on this, but we are officially submitting Clutch Rogers.
Patrick, Can you just go ahead and draw up the contract for that name?
We're getting T-shirts
it's my gift
and
to you and your family. Yes.
Very cool.
That is awesome.
Keeps on giving the whole year.
Oh gosh, that is so great. Oh, it's great. We have a couple more questions. Let's handle the questions. So Tough Nut in the chat, if Halverson, that is Seth Halverson, gets green light to pitch, how does he fit in with the Vols pitching?
Yeah.
I'm gonna say this, guys. I don't think he's. I mean, Seth Halverson is super talented, and I think he could have a wonderful career in pro ball. But if you look at his career from Missouri, he was not a good strike thrower. I think Seth Halverson's going to have a tough time getting innings for Tennessee. I think he's going to be a midweek mop-up guy. And again, like when he gets into pro ball, I mean, he's got a beautiful arm. He was a center field athlete. His best days are ahead of him. But I think he's going to have a really I don't think it's a factor for Tennessee. I think he's going to have a tough time getting innings. What do you guys think?
I would agree. I mean, I think if you look at Tennessee right now, you've got Chase Burns, Drew Beam, Chase Dolander, and Blade Tidwell. Like where are you getting innings as a starter? Like your best case scenario is coming in there as a, hey, because he's got a really nice slider when he throws strikes. He's a guy they're going to throw in there for an inning or two and say, hey, throw hard and throw your slider. And that's going to be who he's going to be this year. That's going to be who he's going to have to be, until, just because of all the depth they have.
Yeah, and in the bullpen, you've got Cannell, you've got Redmond Walsh, you've got, even Ben Joyce, who throws 103, 104, isn't really getting that much work on the weekends.
Yeah.
Halverson just, tremendous athlete. And in fairness to him, he's been a two-way player, but he's just not been a great strike thrower. So, but again, would I bet against him to get to the big leagues? I would not. I think he could absolutely get to the big leagues. So good question. Another question we had was, Chase Powell, SMTTT. I don't know if you're aware of that, Patrick, but SMTTT means Southern Miss to the top.
To the top.
Yeah, which is cool. I am jacked up for Southern Miss to host a regional, if not more, this year. That's going to be amazing. So, and again, the most important thing is that Angela Rogers helped us understand that Riley Rogers is a good run producer, and Patrick Ebert gave us the nickname Clutch Rogers. That is amazing. That is an absolute home run.
I don't do it without that comment. That's what made me think of it. I'm like, she's clutch. Yeah, Clutch Rogers.
With that alone, that makes it a successful podcast.
That's right. Our work here is done. That's right.
Between that and making fun of Fit a little bit.
That's right. Oh, that was the best part. The second best part. Clutch Rogers was the best part. That's right. So Riley Rogers is now officially qualified for the college baseball home run race because there are two things. You need to hit home runs and you need to have a quality nickname to win the home run race. By the way, guys, the one of the Shock Factor podcasts, they were talking about Yvonne Melendez nicknamed the Hispanic Titanic. And Jake from Cespedes, barbecue. Is it Cespedes Party Barbecue or Cespedes Barbecue? Just Cespedes Barbecue.
Cespedes Family Barbecue. And it's also Ivan Melendez.
Ivan Melendez. I'm going to Yvonne. Yeah, I'm all over the place.
His Russian cousin. Yeah.
That's right. Just Ivan Melendez. So I knew there was a third word, Cespedes Family Barbecue. I just couldn't figure out the third word. So anyway, Jake had a great comment about Ivan Melendez being the Hispanic Titanic. He just said, the Titanic didn't end well. He said that would be like me nicknaming myself as a Division III pitcher, the Jewish Hindenburg. And now every time I hear Ivan Melendez, I think of the Jewish Hindenburg. So Jake, we thank you for that. That is
Jewish Hindenburg.
Jewish Hindenburg. This is the greatest thing ever. So, boys, Ebert, thank you for coming. That was awesome. You were amazing. So well done.
Thanks for having me, guys. It's always fun to be on this.
It was awesome.
Yeah, awesome. Everybody have a great weekend. We'll catch you next week for the Monday podcast and then the weekly picks again. And that's it. 4 weekends to go. Have a good one, everybody. We'll catch you next week.